Welcome to the Walk-In Drive-In Movie. I'm Kathy Fedori, your host for the night. This event is brought to you by Calgary 2012 and the New East Village. And as they say, on with the show. One of the hottest urban events this summer was the revival of the outdoor open-air cinema. What we felt was like we were at the drive-in movie. There was everything, minus the cars, hot dogs jumping into the buns, and memories were made.
So I think I was about 15, and my mother's going to be very surprised by this. And I was with my boyfriend, who then became my husband many years later. And we're in the back of, so we're not in the front, we're in the back of his mom's Rambler station wagon with blankets. I have no idea what the movie is, but it was so much fun. It was like exploring the world without watching a movie.
I remember it like it was yesterday. To think about that time in this car, with this darkness around, with this massive screen in front of you. You're supposed to be going to bed now, and they put you in your pajamas. And my mom has made popcorn. Beyond exciting. It was an adventure. And strangely enough, I think my life has continued to be so. That would have been some of my first memories of adventure and the family being together, and what a special time it was. And those drive-ins, I wish there was one around.
Two memories. One is my three sisters and I being loaded into the family car, expectations, wanting to go to the drive-in, getting to the drive-in, and then all falling asleep. So unfulfilled expectations. And then the second one would probably be buying a car with the expectation of taking a girlfriend to the drive-in. I got the car, didn't get the girl to the drive-in though.
Well, the girls kind of like being with guys who had a car. So the drive-in was an obvious choice for guys who had a car. We would go to the same drive-in movie several times with different girls, 3 times in 1 week.
Really?
The summer is short, and we had a special way of getting in so we wouldn't have to pay.
I would sneak in, I would be in the trunk. So we get through the drive-in, and I said, okay, knock, knock, let me out. Not once.
Anything went, I'm sure. And all eyes were everywhere, except maybe on the screen.
I remember as a kid, my parents taking us to the drive-in only one time. We're at the drive-in, we're so excited. My parents have told me all about this, and I fell asleep. I think I watched like half of Casper.
When we were kids, we used to all pack into my dad's Love Machine. It was that 15-passenger van. We called it the Love Machine because it was red on the outside, and inside he had crushed blue velvet, pin cushions with the diamonds. And we just squeezed the 12 of us little Filipino kids into that Love Machine van. The best part was just being, shoulder to shoulder, feet to feet, all intertwined there in the back of the van and watching the movie. And you could talk, you could eat whatever you wanted to eat, and if you wanted to wrestle, you could wrestle.
He talks about them all the time. So many nights we'll be like, oh, what should we do? And he'll be like, oh, I wish Calgary still had a drive-in movie theater. And that's the only reason why I know about them. I didn't even know that we had one at one time, so it's because of him.
Then he said farewell and he turned to leave, and it brought back all of these memories when we lost our gave up.
Why do I always talk about driving? Well, as you probably know, Calgary once had a couple of drive-in theaters, but the one I was around for was they had one way up in the Northeast, or it probably was closer than I thought, but I was, 10 years old at the time. My parents took me there, and it was a great, amazing experience. I remember it was like a triple header. And I remember lying on top of the car with my brother and sister, and we got to stay up till like 2 in the morning to watch these movies. And it was just such a great time. It was a nice, warm, summer evening, and it was just, it was great to be there with the family and to be outdoors and to stay up late. And it was fun, yeah.
It gave us an opportunity to be ourselves a little bit more while we were watching the movie. You could laugh as much as you wanted to. You could cry if you wanted to. Nobody was there to judge or that you were bothering. You were just there with the people you wanted to be there with. So it was a bit of a different, more insulated kind of activity than what we get now. Something that we kind of gravitated to was the horror movies. Was being able to go in and see these things and be there and watching it at that size and out in the open air, and then finishing that movie and having that sense of the hair on the back of your neck standing on end and getting into a car and then driving away from it. It was an adventure, right? The intermission happens. You're running in to try to get into line for popcorn and bad hot dogs, and you're coming back out and sneaking a beer or doing whatever you were doing at that point. I mean, it was a totally different cultural experience, right?
I think there's, especially when you're talking about childhood experiences, it's really hard to separate the content of what you're seeing from the context in which you're seeing it, right? The feeling you get from something. Like, even to this day, this isn't a drive-in experience, but, when a movie starts and it's 20th Century Fox and that, famous da-da-da-da and the drum roll, I always get a feeling of excitement, and I know why. It's because that was the start. That was the first thing you saw and heard when you went to see Star Wars. There's kind of a memory that is almost like a visceral memory. It's almost a sense memory, not a memory that's bound up with the feeling of the movie. That you can't separate the two, right?
Cartoons and the dancing hot dogs going through the hoops, the whole 9 yards.
I had borrowed my sister's car and took out one of the poles.
The wonderful thing about a photograph is that it really is a little window into the past, and of course we only can understand and move to the future with an understanding of the past.
I had a little shop called Tie Dynamics. I ran it with a partner. East Village, that was my East Village. This is a much, much, much bigger East Village, I'll tell you.
We think we know how to go to the moon. We think we know how to go to Mars. We think we know how to do so many things. And we have access to everything at our fingertips. Google this, Google that. But there was, from that time, a time when we got to be in wonder. And just wonder. And to be excited and to be childlike.
You're not really there so much to watch the movie as you are to be with your friends. So sometimes you'd take 2 or 3 cars, and you'd change cars, and you'd visit with your friends, and the movie was kind of secondary.
Do you remember the movie?
That's the question.
You know what? I think it was RoboCop.
It's Casper the Friendly Ghost and The Sandlot.
Towering Inferno, a tall building on fire. I think we were way past our bedtimes, but we were totally electrified by this movie.
Free Willy, I remember that.
Star Wars went to the drive-in theater. That was pretty exciting.
My favourite movie, it's got to be Gone with the Wind.
Double header of James Bond.
Well, there was one movie, because I saw it, which was a really good movie, but I can't talk about that one.
Hands down, Princess Bride. Best movie ever.
You know what I love is the cartoons. I love the cartoons.
I like Daffy Duck. I had a good time watching Daffy Duck.
Tasmanian Devil.
The Space Martian.
Wile E. Coyote, the Roadrunner, and that's all, folks. That's what I remember. That's what I love.
Now, on with our show.